Are you absolutely certain that smiling politician on your screen isn't secretly a scaly, cold-blooded creature pulling the strings? What if the reason your great aunt has such, well, dry skin, or your neighbor just had that really peculiar heart surgery? What if it isn't quite what the doctors are saying? Could the very fabric of our reality be, I don't know, a carefully constructed illusion, broadcast by non-human entities hiding right here, in plain sight? Welcome to Cool, Weird, and Possible. This is where we take a deep dive into the most fascinating, strange, and intriguing sources you send our way, helping you uncover those hidden nuggets of knowledge and insight. Today, we're plunging into a topic that really slithers through ancient legends, modern theories, and even pop culture. We're talking about the idea of reptilian overlords and shape-shifting aliens among us. Okay, let's unpack this. Our journey through the sources starts with these tales of ancient anomalies, and also some bizarre human characteristics that have fueled some, well, truly wild theories. We came across material exploring these mysterious skystones discovered in Sierra Leone. Peculiar blue stones found near old Naley figurines. The local people thought they were literal pieces of the sky.
Yeah, pieces of the blue sky that had fallen to Earth. Imagine finding something like that.
Right, but what's really interesting is how modern science dealt with them.
Exactly. What's truly intriguing here is that the initial geological analysis, well, it couldn't definitively say if they were natural formations or actually man-made. Researchers, including a collector named Jared Collins, they sought more analysis at the University of Washington. And Professor Peter Ward's lab ran tests. Revealed the stones were, and this is a quote, unbelievably light.
Unbelievably light. What does that mean? Like organic?
It suggested an organic component, yes.
Yeah.
And further mass spectrograph analysis found high concentrations of nitrogen. That put them in a very peculiar rock category. The material even says scientists considered a possible extraterrestrial origin.
Wow, like a meteorite or...
Or maybe even part of a spaceship. It was definitely on the table.
So, a rock from space? Maybe organic, baffling geologists? That's definitely weird. But the sources suggest the anomalies don't stop there, right? They dive into our own biology.
They do. We encountered discussions of rare human conditions that some theorists connect directly to reptilian ancestry.
Like that case from 2010. The man with the three-chambered heart.
That's the one. Doctors at the Texas Heart Institute discovered this 59-year-old man whose heart structure was eerily similar to a reptile's.
Okay, but scientifically there's an explanation for that, isn't there? Atavism.
Correct. From a scientific perspective, it's attributed to atavism. It's this evolutionary phenomenon where a lost trait from a distant ancestor pops back up. Think about our own embryonic development. The sequence goes from 2 chambers like fish to 3 like reptiles, then to our 4 chambers. A developmental defect could, in theory, sort of stall development at an earlier stage.
The reptilian stage.
Exactly. It's like a biological echo, a fleeting glimpse of a much older blueprint.
That's fascinating, how our bodies can hold these echoes. But the material mentions other things too.
Oh, yes. It brings up other striking examples, like over 100 reported cases of human tails in medical journals since the 1800s.
Wait, actual tails?
Actual tails. And also a condition called ichthyosis, which causes very dry, scaly skin.
Okay, so evolutionary quirks, or...
Well, that's where it pivots to a more controversial interpretation. Ancient astronaut theorists, they suggest these aren't just remnants. They propose these are signs that the human genome might have, well, intermingled with that of reptilians.
Through alien hybrid experimentation.
That's the theory presented. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, if these are just defects or perhaps something more deliberate.
It definitely pushes the boundaries. And if we're considering outside influence, what about blood types? The sources brought that up too.
Right. This raises a really important question. If we entertain that possibility, the sources highlight another biological mystery, the Rh-negative blood type. Most humans are Rh positive, about 85% globally, but a significant minority, around 15%, are Rh negative.
And the material points to the Basque people. Isolated, unique language.
And the highest concentration of Rh-negative blood on Earth, up to 35%. It's a real outlier population.
So what makes this blood type so different? And why is its origin such a puzzle?
Well, the rhesus factor, the Rh factor, it's named after the rhesus macaque monkey used in early experiments. For Rh-negative people, getting Rh-positive blood can trigger a severe, potentially fatal reaction. The body sees those antigens as foreign invaders.
Right, I've heard about that. And for pregnancy.
That's even more critical. If an Rh-negative woman carries an Rh-positive fetus, her immune system can create antibodies that attack the fetus's blood. It can lead to really serious complications. This incompatibility was so significant historically that sometimes blood tests were needed before marriage.
Wow, so it's a genetic difference our own bodies treat as, well, profoundly alien. And the source material mentions the out-of-Africa theory, suggesting humans originated there and are Rh positive.
That's the prevailing theory, yes. It postulates that modern humans originated in Africa and spread out, carrying the Rh positive factor.
So if that holds true, where did Rh negative blood even come from? Is it just some random mutation that's stuck around?
That's the million-dollar question. Scientists, as the sources state, truly have no definitive answer. It's a genuine mystery. The material speculates that if you possess Rh-negative blood, you may have been evolved from a different kind of species on this planet.
Whoa.
Suggesting maybe genetic alteration or just a totally different evolutionary path from some outside source. It's a gap in our knowledge that theories, both conventional and less conventional, try to fill.
Okay, so if our own biology holds these deep mysteries, maybe hinting at an outside source, then maybe it's not such a huge leap to consider legends and stories about beings who can actually transform, who can blend in.
It certainly sets the stage. Our sources delve into ancient legends and modern accounts of shapeshifting. A really famous modern case is Travis Walton's alleged abduction in Arizona back in 1975.
Oh yeah, the guy hit by the beam from the UFO. His crew thought he was gone.
Exactly.
Right.
Hit by an energy beam from a disc-shaped craft, a really violent event. He later woke up on the craft. First, he saw small gray aliens, but then human-looking ones appeared.
Different beings. Why?
Well, theorists like Nick Pope, who's cited in the material, they suggest it wasn't different aliens. They think it was the same beings, shape-shifting to try and calm Walton down, make themselves appear less threatening.
So the idea is he was abducted by beings who can mimic humans. That's unnerving.
The ability to blend in would be a powerful advantage, wouldn't it?
Definitely. And this isn't just modern UFO stuff, right?
Yeah.
It connects to older beliefs.
Absolutely. Our sources note that both the Navajo and Ute tribes have traditions of portals or dimensional tunnels, specific entry and exit points, they say, that allow supernatural things to happen, anomalies in the sky, even prehistoric animals crossing over.
A literal blurring of worlds. And shape-shifting gods, too.
Yeah.
In medicine.
Yes. The idea appears in historical accounts of medicine. In Varanasi, India, one of the wealthiest cities on Earth, the ancient physician Sushruta is credited with developing early surgery. According to Hindu legends, Sushruta got his knowledge from the god Dhanvantari.
Often shown with 4 arms, right?
Right. And Dhanvantari was also known as a shapeshifter. He could take on forms like a bird to travel to Earth.
Okay, I see where this is going. Ancient astronaut theorists jump on this.
They do. As detailed in the material, they suggest Dhanvantari and also the Egyptian god of healing, Thoth.
The half-man, half-bird god.
That's him. They propose these figures delivered knowledge of medicine and anatomy from extraterrestrial sources. Sushruta himself reportedly said he learned directly from the gods.
Which these theorists interpret as aliens.
Essentially, yes. A reinterpretation of myth as historical contact.
It sounds like an elaborate ancient cover-up if you look at it that way. But human shapeshifters aren't just gods or aliens, right? What about skinwalkers?
Good point. The sources detail those legends, too, among the Navajo and Ute. Human shamans or witches who can transform into animals, often wolves.
And the tradition links this to DNA. That's fascinating, like not leaving fingernails around.
Exactly. Cultural practices related to concerns about DNA transmission. So, ancient astronaut theorists propose if aliens harvest DNA for shapeshifting.
Fine, maybe they give the ability to humans, too.
That's the speculation.
Okay.
And former Navajo police officer Jonathan Dover. He's quoted as being, certain skinwalkers are real. He talks about reports of human figures chasing cars at incredible speeds. He urges people not to just dismiss these accounts.
Wow. That's quite a statement from law enforcement. So, okay. Ancient gods, tribal legends, modern abductions, potential biological links, all pointing toward shapeshifters. But where does the specific idea of reptilian overlords secretly running the world come from? That feels like a distinct flavor of this.
It largely comes from one very prominent figure. Our material points to David Icke, former English football player, BBC Sports presenter. Then he became a major voice in conspiracy circles.
Right, Icke. His book, The Biggest Secret.
That's one from 1999. In it, he proposed that many world leaders, prominent figures, are descendants of the Anunnaki. He described them as a reptilian race from the Draco constellation.
And didn't he later add things about the moon? And Saturn?
He did. He expanded on it, suggesting the moon and even Saturn are broadcasting holographic experiences that humanity just perceives as reality.
It's a really vast conspiracy.
Extremely vast. And his theories go further. Our sources note he talks about a global elite, or prison wardens, at the top of a Babylonian brotherhood, aiming for things like a microchipped population, a world government, basically an Orwellian state where free speech is gone.
And that problem, reaction, solution thing.
Yes, he proposes this method where elites supposedly create a problem, wait for the public reaction, fear, outrage, and then offer the solution they wanted all along, a way to control the narrative and outcome.
That is intense. And as the material makes very clear, hugely controversial.
Extremely. Critics, for instance, see his reptilians as a kind of coded anti-Semitism, viewing them as symbolic representations of Jewish people.
An accusation Ig denies, right?
He denies it, yes. But he's also faced accusations of Holocaust denial for questioning the official line of the Second World War. More recently, his claims linking COVID-19 and 5G mobile networks got his videos removed from YouTube and Facebook for health misinformation.
And he's banned from a lot of Europe.
Banned from 26 European countries, according to the sources. It really shows how these theories can collide with real-world politics, social issues, and regulations.
Absolutely. It's not just abstract ideas.
Oh.
But the idea of hidden reptilians, it's not just ick. It's seeped into culture, hasn't it? Like that show V.
Oh, definitely. That's a classic example the sources look at. The 1980s TV miniseries, V, depicted these lizard-like aliens disguised as friendly humans secretly invading Earth.
Yeah, V was iconic. The peeling back the skin, creepy stuff. The sources say it was an allegory.
Explicitly so. The creator, Kenneth Johnson, designed it as an allegory for the rise of totalitarianism, specifically drawing parallels to Nazi Germany. The visitors' weapons look like German Lugers, their uniforms like the Wehrmacht, even their flag was a variation on the swastika.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that direct.
Oh, yes. The show explored how this seemingly benevolent force could manipulate media, persecute scientists, exploit prejudices, all to gain control. It's a powerful warning about how easily people can be swayed by charisma and promises.
So the sci-fi was really a vehicle for social commentary. Like that Twilight Zone episode, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street.
Exactly the same principle. In that episode, the aliens barely had to do anything. They just exploited human fear and paranoia, and people turned on each other. It's about how power corrupts and how fragile social cohesion can be.
And the reboot of V, did that have an allegory too?
It did, but updated. The 2009 reboot took on more of a post-9/11 feel. It depicted the alien Vs as having lived among humans for decades in sleeper cells, infiltrating governments, religions. It really reflected that heightened sense of paranoia, the politics of fear that emerged after major terror attacks.
Okay, so fiction uses these ideas to explore our anxieties, but why do people believe in the actual conspiracy theories themselves? The sources get into the psychology of it.
They do. And what's fascinating is that research suggests conspiratorial thinking might actually serve a psychological purpose. It can help people maintain a sense that the world is consistent and predictable, even if that predictability involves, well, huge, malevolent plots.
So it imposes an order, even if it's a scary order.
Kind of, yes. Conspiracy theories often share common traits, a belief that nothing happens by chance, nothing is what it seems, everything is connected. They also tend to have this bipolar black and white logic. Good versus evil, us versus them.
And they seem so resistant to rational arguments, right? People just filter information to fit what they already believe. It feels impossible to break through sometimes.
That's definitely a common perception. But it raises the question, can these beliefs actually be changed? One study we looked at, done with over 800 Hungarians, experimentally tested different approaches.
What did they find? Did anything work?
The results were quite insightful, actually. Empathy alone didn't significantly recruit belief, but both rational arguments and, surprisingly, ridiculing were found to be effective.
Ridiculing? Really?
Yeah.
And rational arguments?
Yes. Rational arguments seem to work by challenging that black and white thinking, pointing out logical flaws, and encouraging more analytical thought.
So facts and maybe even a bit of humor can make a difference. That kind of goes against the grain, doesn't it?
It does suggest that rationality might have more impact than we sometimes think, which is really relevant today with how information spreads.
Yeah, especially with that whole research it yourself mantra you see everywhere now.
Exactly. That slogan has become a rallying cry, even for theories about, alien lizards in government.
And the sources argue just teaching people how to find info isn't enough.
Right. It suggests we need to understand the information systems themselves, the architectures, the infrastructures, the underlying belief systems shaping our digital world. Often, people drawn to these theories feel like elites control knowledge, and they enjoy claiming expertise on their own terms.
So the internet lets them build their own echo chambers, their own scholarly societies to validate these views.
Precisely. And sometimes the misinformation is completely intentional just to see what happens.
Like that TikTok video, the lizard wink.
Perfect example from the sources. A video showing an airline passenger supposedly winking like a lizard horizontal eyelids went viral, totally fueling the reptilian theory. But the creator later admitted it was fake, a social experiment to see how gullible people are.
Wow.
He actually stressed that people choose to ignore the red flags and just believe things because we want it to be true.
People want to believe the lizard wink. It really makes you wonder if our brains are just wired for a good story, even a bizarre one, over boring reality.
It certainly makes you think about how we process information and why certain narratives, however strange, gain so much traction.
So as you go about your day, maybe think about not just what you choose to believe, but why you choose to believe it. What questions are you trying to answer about the world around you? And what kind of story do those answers tell, maybe about all of us? This deep dive definitely gave us a lot to chew on. Skystones, reptilian hearts, shape-shifting gods, internet hoaxes. Quite the journey. Thank you for joining us on this wild ride. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please make sure to subscribe to our channel for more cool, weird, and possible explorations.